Well, good Thursday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods. Hope everybody's having a great day. Man, the Cowboys, and maybe Odell Beckham Jr. But before I get to that, last night, Philly 500 looked like he had lost his best friend. There was word out that they'd lost Big Play Slay. We all know that Hargrove was gone. Miles Sanders is signed elsewhere. He's losing all his friends. But then, lo and behold, in the middle of the night, it seemed like they kind of said, yeah, his contract's $26 million in hit this year. If we cut him, we're taking $22 million in dead money, and we're only saving $3.8 million. I looked at that, and personally, I said, I don't see how you do that. You're telling me that you're going to spend $22 million to get rid of him only to get 3.8? That's worse than a payday loan. You know you're going to pay a boatload of interest when you get the payday loan, probably going to lose your car. I was like, you might as well keep him at that price. It's just kind of like one of those deals, and that contract was untradeable. There's no suckers out there going to look and say, let's take him on with a $26 million cap hit. I mean, we got the Commanders that did that with Carson Wentz, but we know how desperate they are for quarterbacks. And that's where people said, well, the Cowboys were stupid. Why didn't they trade Zeke? Because the contract was untradeable. Nobody's taking on, with all of the running backs that are out there right now on the market, it's actually flooded. And it makes you almost question whether or not they should be spending $10 million on Tony Pollard. But be that as it may, the thing is you don't want to take on a big contract. And to let you know how big Zeke Elliott's contract is, Zeke Elliott from 2016 has made $70 million as a running back. That is so bloated in comparison to everybody else. The next closest is Christian McCaffrey at 46, and I think Derrick Henry at 43. And that doesn't count guys like Todd Gurley that are even lower on the totem pole. I get it. Zeke Elliott was one of the best running backs that there were during the time. But when you're talking about paying 33% more to the next closest, a third more, that's when you know it's just not affordable. So the Cowboys ended up getting rid of Zeke. We can't use his money. He's still on the books. If you go to Over the Cap or Sports Track, you're going to see Zeke Elliott's $16 million cap hit that's there. That will change come June 1st, in which case it is a post-June 1st cut, which means half of the money will be this year, half of it will be next year. And that's when the Cowboys will get an $11 million bump up on the salary. In the meantime, they have about $23 million to work with. And that's already counting in Gallimore's money. That's already counting in Tony Pollard's money. That's already counting in having all of these things worked out. Now, I'm not sure if that's got Tyron Smith's in it as I last looked. So let me check real quick to make sure that I'm correct on that. Let's see. That's from yesterday. I need to refresh. We have 22.8 and excuse me. Sorry. Tyron Smith. I don't see him listed on there. Let's see. See, Dak at 26. DeMarcus Lawrence has dropped down to 17. Zeke 16.7 is still there. We'll get the 10.9 come the first. Oh, Tyron Smith, yeah. Tyron Smith is actually $8 million cap hit. So we basically reduce that in half. And there is places where we can get more relief, okay? We did Michael Gallup. His hit number is basically cut in half. He's 6.7. they can. Jordan Lewis is one that you look at and say that they may end up getting rid of because he's still injured and it may have to be an injury settlement, and that's almost $5 million too that they can get. But they can also, with Stephon Gilmore, extend his contract and get some cap relief there. With Dak Prescott, same thing. If you extend his contract, and you want to extend the contract when there's still time on the contract, because then you can really spread it out even further. So the Cowboys have money to do stuff, okay? They have money to do stuff. The question is, will they? Now, we've heard that the Cowboys have had good conversations with Odell. Teams are interested in Odell. Teams want to sign Odell, but teams are sitting here thinking, if his demands are $20 million, I don't think that they want to pay that. The other thing that I think you need to look at, we know that Aaron Rodgers has him on, God, dog it, that Aaron Rodgers has him on his wish list of, pretty much everybody. We know that New England has put to his workouts and are interested. We know that the Giants are interested. But one thing I want to say that may be key here, because having Odell play with Cleveland in the cold, having played in, of course, New York in the cold, I'm not sure that he wants to play in the cold. I think he liked playing indoors with the Rams, that it's better for his health with the knee and everything else, because trust me, when it gets cold out or when it's about to rain, I can feel it in my knees. I can feel it definitely in my knees. I want to check and pull up something, because here's the thing, because people will say that the reason we got this, we're not going to get any big free agents, because they said we're going to use this money on getting a CeeDee Lamb done and getting Diggs done. But see, here's the thing that you don't understand. Typically what happens when you get a new contract for a guy, you usually actually get cap relief, okay? And the reason being is because the guaranteed money, and this is where people go crazy, the signing bonus and the guaranteed money, Skip Bayless, Dak Prescott fleeced the Cowboys and got $70 million. Yes, he did. He got a check for $70 million for the guaranteed money. Woohoo, okay? But that doesn't matter, because that's money that, the Cowboys have. I mean, we're talking about a man that's got 2 helicopters and a 300-foot long yacht. It's not like he's going to go hungry because they gave him a whole bunch of money on signing bonuses. That money is divided up by the length of the contract. And now that they use voidable years, you can just kind of play with the cap any way you want. The reality is on Dak Prescott's contract is, after signing that $40 million a year deal, his cap number's never been $40 million. It's never been $40 million. It's been $17 million. It's been $19 million, and it's been $27 million. 3 years into it. So that's where all these people that talk about how much money he gets paid, and it's funny, I don't hear about anybody saying that Daniel Jones is overpaid, but be that as it may. Signing a big contract for a guy, we have right here, we have the biggest contract for a wide receiver right now. Tyreek Hill signed a 4-year, $120 million deal. 4-year, $120 million deal. And you say, oh my God, how can they afford that? Well, here's how. Let's take a look at this for a second. Last season, Tyreek Hill got his bonus money, got paid, and so on, right? You want to see this? His cap number was $6.4 million. About half of what Michael Gallup's deal was. I bet you're going, what? What? This year, Tyreek Hill, his cap number is 12.8, which is what we actually paid Michael Gallup last year. Whoa, dude. Whoa. So now, here's the thing. The contract escalates. The year after that, 2024, it balloons up to $31 million. But here's the key. The guaranteed salary is not there. So they can play with those the money. In the same way, Dak Prescott's cap number this year was 49. They used avoidable years, okay? They used avoidable years to get cap relief. So you could sign Diggs, you could sign CeeDee Lamb to a contract, I hope not as big as Tyreek Hill's, but you could sign those guys to a contract that their cap number is only going to be, $4 or $5 million. And currently, that's what their cap number is this year anyway. So you take that number and you can stretch it out so you have a low number this year, a low number next year, and you still have cap room. Because, see, they're also already being taken up on the salary cap as we speak now. So let's pull it up real quick here. And I can tell you that this year, Diggs is almost $5 million right now. You could sign Diggs to a long-term deal and maybe add $1 million or $2 million to that contract. CeeDee Lamb is about the same, $4.5 million. Again, you can get him a 4-year deal and have actually save some money on this year's. So the concept of saying that they're getting a big pile of money to sign those two, that's not exactly how it works. Think about Von Miller, Bobby Wagner, and Zadarius Smith. I told you guys before, last year, their first year cap number was only $10 million combined. Now, of course, it got bigger the next year, but right now we're dealing with now. So with that $23 million they have right now, plus the 10.9 that's coming, plus if they decide to go ahead and extend Stephon Gilmore for a year so he's not a free agent at the end of this year, plus if they go ahead and get a deal done for Tony Pollard, plus if they go ahead and get Dak Prescott an extension on his, and so on, they have ways of making even more money to do anything they want. And I'm not saying go hog wild, go crazy, in free agency, but you've got to do better than what you did last year. I talked about how bad the receiving core was last year. Going into the season, if you take Michael Gallup out of the equation, the Cowboys had 2,500 yards of receiving yardage. Total experience. Total. And somehow we thought having CeeDee Lamb and a bunch of guys was going to be good enough. And we were definitely proven wrong. Of course, we've lost Zeke Elliott. And I want to go to Get Up this morning and hear what they had to say.
Ezekiel, Elliott, no doubt Marcus Spears is, you heard him groan a little bit of because he has meant a ton to Dallas. Now they're going to be moving on, and we'll see where Zeke ends up landing.
Yeah, I think we got away from the narrative a little bit, man. Zeke did phenomenal work in Dallas. And I know we watched him over these last couple of years be injured, and the story flipped to Tony Pollard. That's the nature of the beast. But obviously, when you think about his career, like Zeke was the heart and soul. Him and this offensive line is the reason why we started thinking about Dallas in the way that we think about the Dallas Cowboys. Even now, right, that physicality, the way he was able to burst on the scene and have a tremendous amount of success, you could attribute a lot of Dak's success to the way that they were playing offense at that time. So I just don't want people to forget why Zeke got money, because our conversation has been about, he making too much money.
Right.
You get paid for what you do. And what he did was be a top 3 back in the league before they gave him that contract.
Sometimes it's retroactive a little bit. What do they do to replace him?
They're in a tough spot, Dallas.
Yes, they are.
Just for context, okay? Tony Pollard, coming off of the broken leg, had 193 carries last year. That's the most in his career. Zeke has never had less than 230. I'll remind everybody, too, at home watching, Mike McCarthy said this offseason, I want to run the football. I want to control the game, keep the defense on the sideline. So right now their lead back has 190 carries in his career coming off of a broken leg. So I think, okay, go to the draft, see if you can get the guy in the draft, and it's probably got to be a relatively earlier pick. Yeah. And then maybe it's Jamal Williams from Detroit. Maybe it's Harris from New England. Maybe it's Miles Sanders from Philly. They got to do something.
Those two have been signed.
Man, Dallas they have some holes. Obviously got to look at that offensive line and try to retool. But Bijan Robinson from Texas,
I'm telling you,
he's going to be a player now.
If he lasts,
watch out.
If he lasts, or if you got to move.
Can you imagine if they
go ahead,
trade up for a running back? I get it. It's Bijan Robinson.
The premium is why you have your reservation.
I don't think Dallas is like that one piece away where you could justify take a back in the first round. Second, third round, I have a little bit more comfort. I think they've got bigger kind of need issues that they probably have to attack.
And you're finding production in third and fourth round.
Absolutely.
Backs, right? I think Bijan is going to be I think he's going to have a Breece Hall effect. I think he's that good.
He's one of the best in the business, entering his 6th year now as the lead back in Dallas from the Dallas Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott. How are you, Zeke?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing better for talking to you here. What is your outlook for the 2021 season? Walk me through it as you're getting ready to kick things off.
Okay, that just went off the rails. All right, so what will the Cowboys do? The thing is with the Cowboys, we're now seeing Mike McCarthy changing of the guard. Quietly, and I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but the Cowboys from the Jason Garrett era, I think there's only like 10 guys left. There are very few guys that were here when Mike McCarthy got here. You've got Dak. You've got Dak. You've got DeMarcus Lawrence. You got Leighton Vander Esch. I mean, you are down to Tyron Smith. Tony Pollard was. Michael Gallup. Very, very, Brian Aguilar, I think, was. No, or maybe not. Neville Gallimore was. Very, very few. It's like 10 guys are left from the Jason Garrett era. And you start looking at this and saying, this team in front of our eyes has completely remade themselves from the Jason Garrett era. I've got to go back through and I'll get the list of exactly who is still here. But you think about where we were when Mike McCarthy came, with our defense was getting better, but wasn't anywhere near where it is now. Our offense has been pretty good, just not in the playoffs. And now we're seeing the complete evolution of what Mike McCarthy does with it. And I'll definitely have more on that. But as we always do, good people, we're getting ready to get up out of here and get on with the other news. The Cowboys are showing signs of life for the first time early in the league year.
Our coach here, as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing.